Before we start, I'm coming down with a cold and it's really bad. I'm really blocked up and bunged up and I keep losing my voice. So fingers crossed this all goes okay. But hello there, to those of you who don't know me, my name is Lucy and I am just coming up to completing my first year at university. I'm studying English literature and creative writing. I have a video, I'm not sure which one it is, but somebody asked me to talk about applying for uni and personal statements and all of that kind of stuff. And the comment got rated and voted up quite a lot, so I assume people really want me to talk about this. I've already done a video, a Q&A, talking about like, my chair keeps squeaking, sixth form and my experience with sixth form and A-levels and how to survive and cope with them and stuff. So I'll link that down below and I'll also put it over here as well. Experience wise, I went to sixth form and with applying for uni we looked at UCAS before we finished for the summer in year 12. UCAS is the university application system in the UK, all online. It's like an online form and then that then gets sent off to the unis that you apply to. We filled in all the basic stuff before the summer, had to familiarise ourselves with it, made an account with UCAS and all of that, and then we kind of got told to start prepping personal statements over the summer, but we didn't really start writing them properly until September time. Personal statements wise, people do find these really tricky. For me, I didn't find it too hard, but I think it depends on the confidence that you have with applying and knowing beforehand what it is you're applying for and that that's definitely the course you want to do. For me personally, I always knew for as long as I can remember what I wanted to study at university and that I wanted to go to university. The main pointers I would give you and the main form of advice is to redraft it as many times as possible, to hand it into your, I think for me we got to give it to our form tutors. What they're there for is to give you advice and to keep reading it, you know, keep pestering them and be like, I've written a new draft, can you look over this? Given a checklist of things to like kind of include and stuff. We got told not to write negatively or say things that you haven't done or things like phrase it in a negative way. I think at one point I said something like, I find it difficult to describe how much literature means to me. And my head of year circled that and said, maybe try and rephrase this, because if you say you find it difficult, as much as you're using it in a positive perspective, it comes across negative. Talk about what you can offer them as a university, the experiences that you've had, any extracurricular stuff that you've done. If you're studying literature, for example, talk about the books that you love, the authors that you love, look into what the courses you're interested in include, what texts they do. This is literature mostly, the experience I have with the personal statement. Talk about the subjects you're doing at A-level, talk about what you're passionate about, your hobbies, your interests. Try not to ramble and repeat yourself. Just kind of aim it at them, saying like, I know what you're asking for and this is what I can offer you. Try and just big yourself up basically, as hard as that really is to do. Just try and be confident and just say like, hey, this is what I've done and this is what I love and I'm passionate about your subject, but don't use those words. We got told not to say, I am passionate about English, because that is just, they're gonna read so many personal statements with that kind of phrasing, and so try and avoid that. You can put a quote in the beginning from other people, but try and then use that to your advantage, like say like whether or not you agree or disagree, and don't you just use it to bump up the word count or whatever, because they'll be able to tell that you're doing it for that reason. Next thing, deadlines, CAS and applying and things. So these vary depending on your course. If you're applying for Oxford or Cambridge, they're a lot earlier than the actual deadline. Like you need to have applied, I think it's October, I want to say something, it varies every year, but it's very early October, late September time, and the same applies for medicine courses. Keep that in mind. With my sixth form, those that applied to Oxbridge, I personally didn't apply to Oxbridge, got put aside and got given kind of not special treatment, but kind of they were the priority because their deadline was first. So those people had like a lot of one-to-one and they got put in a different room and they met up over lunchtimes and stuff and discussed their application a lot more thoroughly and one-to-one. Sixth form or college personal deadline may vary. For us, I think they set us a deadline that we had to have sent off our applications by a certain time, and this was before the UCAS final deadline date because they were worried that people would decide they wanted to apply to uni literally a couple of days before. So they kind of like persuaded us all to, even if we're not sure whether or not we want to go to uni, to apply anyway. So then we can always withdraw our application later on, but obviously you can't change your mind last minute if you haven't started and the application deadline is a couple of days away. January is the final deadline for UCAS applications. So yes, just keep that in mind, don't leave it until the last minute. Take into consideration as well when applying for unis the entry requirements for the course. Try and have some variety. For me, I picked three unis, which were Russell Group unis, all with the same entry requirements. So they were like the top high ones, like the ones that I was predicted, but I also then applied for kind of not lower but like lower down entry requirements as a backup. Firm is your main choice and your insurance is your backup option, so then your firm can be the one that you're aiming towards and the one that's like your top choice, the one that's maybe higher entry requirements, and then your lower down choice is the one that has lower entry requirements that you can use as a backup in case on results day you don't get the grades that you were expecting or the ones that the uni were asking for. Although don't worry, I don't want to say don't aim for that, but on results day you may be surprised that they let you in anyway, even if you didn't quite get those grades they were asking for. So yes, keep that in mind as well. When applying for accommodation and things, keep that in mind too, because unis, they kind of, from what I know, they didn't tell me when to apply. I had to look up when their accommodation deadline was. When the accommodation opened, apply as soon as possible because they'll go very quickly. Unis vary depending on whether it's first come first served or just randomised. Finally, what is clearing? I got asked this a couple of times because I mentioned it, I think, in my A-level advice video. On results day, if you don't get the grades for your top choice and you don't want to go to your insurance, or maybe you didn't get into either of them, you can ring up clearing and say, these are the grades that I have, please can you put me somewhere? Be in contact with unis and ring them up. It's apparently very stressful. I haven't been through it myself and I don't really know anybody that has, but if that is your situation, don't worry, clearing is there for a reason. But I also want to say, if you didn't get the grades you're expecting, it is not the end of the world. It may feel like the end of one world, in the sense that it's the end of the world that you were kind of had in your head you were, you know, anticipating. Still going to get a degree regardless whether or not you go to a Russell Group, whether you go to any other university. It should not be elitist and you're still going to get the same qualification regardless of where you go. Keep that in mind and it's going to be absolutely fine. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any more questions, please put them in the comments down below and I'll try and answer them as best as I can do. So yes, I'm coming up to finishing my first year now, which is kind of insane, and I'm not ready to finish. I don't want to leave my flat, and although I'm also ready for new beginnings, because second and third year are a lot more specialist and we chose our modules, whereas first year is just compulsory modules, which is really kind of, you get a little bit annoyed with them in the end, or a little bit repetitive and boring. And I've chosen my modules for next year and I got all my first choices, so that's really exciting. Those of you who are currently doing exams, I am myself, good luck to you. You're going to be absolutely fine, and just take some time out for you. Make sure you have a break from revision and just try and stay calm. Exams can be redone, but your life can't, and your well-being comes first. You guys are all doing well and I shall see you all hopefully soon. Goodbye.